out her checkbook, and wrote him a check. Handing it over, she said, "You will start small. As the business picks up, more money will come." Overwhelmed with gratitude, Clement bowed his head, whispering thanks over and over again. Without wasting time, he went out, rented a shop in a busy marketplace, and immediately restarted his restaurant business. He employed a few staff members to help him, and soon, some of his former customers realized that Clement was back in business. One by one, they began to patronize him again. Each day, his customer base grew, and his income increased steadily. 2 years later, Clement's hard work and dedication bore fruit. What started as a small restaurant had expanded into a large eatery and a shopping mall. Bridget was deeply proud of Clement's growth. His resilience, discipline, and determination to rise again inspired her. Meanwhile, at the other side of the city, Sandra, Clement's ex-wife, was living in a completely different world. She had married her billionaire customer, Amos, and moved into his grand mansion. At first, she thought she had finally secured the good life she had always dreamed of. The house was vast, elegant, and filled with luxury. A maid attended to Amos, and Sandra assumed her life of suffering was over. But to her shock, reality hit her differently. From the very beginning, Amos refused to let her stay or sleep in the same room with him. Instead, he assigned her to another room in the house. She was not allowed to step into his room unless he specifically sent for her. Sandra soon realized that, in Amos's home, she lived almost like a maid, while the actual maid had free access to Amos's room at any time. Confused and humiliated, she gathered courage one day to confront him. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded. "I am your wife. Why do you treat me like this?" Amos turned to her with cold eyes and said harshly, "This is the rule in my house. How dare you question me? I give you money, I clothe you in designer dresses, I even bought you a car. Is this not the kind of life you wanted? So why are you questioning what I do in my own house? Just get inside your room." Sandra froze in shock. Shame washed over her as she realized the bitter reality. With her head bowed low, she turned silently and walked back into her room, her heart filled with sorrow. What Sandra did not know was that Mr. Amos was deeply involved in deadly rituals with his maid. That was how he had built his wealth. His dark practice was terrifying. He would marry women and then use their lives in sacrifices to sustain his riches. One fateful night, Amos prepared another ritual in his private room. The maid entered quietly, carrying strands of Sandra's hair. Handing it to Amos, she watched as he began chanting, calling the spirit of Sandra to end her life. But this time, something unusual happened. No matter how hard he called, Sandra's spirit did not give in. Suddenly, the spirit master, his ritual boss, appeared. With a strong, commanding voice, the spirit declared, "This woman's spirit is too powerful. We cannot take her life. But we can take her womb. From this night, she will never bear children again." That same night, while Sandra slept in her room, she felt a sharp, stabbing pain in her stomach. She screamed out in agony, calling for help. Amos rushed in, pretending to care. He handed her a glass of water to calm her down. Slowly, she drifted back to sleep, unaware of what had just been stolen from her. But one day, her eyes were opened. She overheard Amos talking with his maid. His voice was calm but filled with evil satisfaction. "I didn't know her spirit was so strong like this," Amos said. "We couldn't end her life. But thank God, we have taken her womb. She can no longer bear children." Both of them laughed wickedly. Sandra froze in shock. Her body trembled as she realized the truth. So this man is a ritualist? He wanted to end my life, and now he has taken away my ability to ever bear children again? Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered to herself, "No wonder, no matter how hard I try in this marriage, nothing works. I must leave this place. If I stay, I will die." 2 days later, under the cover of night, Sandra ran away from Amos's house. By morning, she was already weak and exhausted. She had not eaten properly for days, surviving only on the water she drank in Amos's house. With the little money she carried, she spotted an eatery by the roadside. Hungry and desperate, she ordered food. But as she was about to leave, something happened that shook her entire being. She saw a man in a clean black suit, walking confidently into the restaurant. She looked closer, her eyes widened. The food in her hand slipped and fell to the ground. "Clement, is this you?" she stammered in shock. Clement turned and looked at her. His voice was steady. Yes, it is me. I own this place. The same man you left behind when you ran off with your billionaire lover. Sandra fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. I didn't know what came over me, she cried. It was the devil. Please forgive me. What about our children? But Clement's face hardened. Our children? Or my children? Wasn't that what you told me, that they were mine alone? His words pierced through her like arrows. She wept bitterly, begging him for forgiveness. Clement lifted her by the arm, looked her straight in the eye, and said firmly, Get up. I have forgiven you. But you must go. Stop causing a scene here. Sandra stood, ashamed, and quietly left the restaurant. Later that night, in the hotel where she lodged, she sat alone in regret. She whispered to herself, I must try to get Clement back. He has forgiven me. Thank God I already have babies, because I can never give birth again. My selfishness has destroyed me. When Clement got home that night, his mind would not rest. The memory of Sandra's sudden appearance at his restaurant haunted him, and sleep refused to come. By morning he could no longer hold the weight of it alone, so he went straight to see Bridget and told her everything that had happened with Sandra lately. Bridget listened quietly, her face calm and kind. After he finished, she asked him a careful question. Do you want to take her back? Check your heart and do whatever your heart says. It is fine, after all, the heart knows what it wants. It can't be pushed or forced. Clement bowed his head. The weight of his feelings broke him open. He fell to his knees before Bridget and spoke from the deepest part of his heart. My heart wants you. Will you marry me? Bridget was stunned. Marry. I don't. Kindness of a stranger who became family, he rose again, stronger and better. It shows us that betrayal and rejection do not define your future. With faith, hard work, and the right people around you, hope can always be restored. And for Sandra, share your thoughts in the comments. What lesson did you take from it? Like this video, share to friends, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on all notifications so you never miss another inspiring story. Your support means everything. Stay blessed and see you in the next story.